We're going to use a little bit of modern technology tomorrow. We're going to have an electronic
Long ago, when the pyramids were still young, Egyptian kings played a game of great and terrible power. But these shadow games...
Wait a minute. This isn't what we're going to be talking about tonight. Let's talk about Season 0. What is up, Hardcore Nation? It's Hardcore Christopher here. And I thought you guys would get a kick out of that first segment. Well, out of the beginning of this video. I'm here to talk about Season 0. Season 0 was the first adaptation of the... Well, it was a 27 episode animated adaptation of the first 7 volumes of the Yu-Gi-Oh manga. And let me tell you how we went from Yugi and a Tim being best buds is beyond me, because Season 0 is very, very dark. It begins with Yugi completing... Well, he's trying to complete the Millennium Puzzle, but Anzu, Miho, Jinochi, and Honda. So, Taya, Tristan, Joey, Miho is never heard from again, as far as I am aware. So, what happens when Yugi completes the Millennium Puzzle? Well, as we all know from the anime, that when Yugi completes the Millennium Puzzle, he is endued with knowledge and power from an ancient presence that lives within the puzzle itself, known as the Pharaoh, or a Tim, as his name is later revealed in the series. However, Season 0... and a Tim does all the dueling and everything. Well, almost all the dueling. There were two times when Yugi had to duel on his own. The Rare Hunters arc, so Battle City, and then pretty much at the tail end of the original series, where it was Bakura versus Yugi. And meanwhile, Tim and the Spirit of the Ring were doing some tabletop game. But in Season 0, he does get that. But a Tim in the anime we know and a Tim in Season 0 are two completely different people. Now you may be wondering, how is that even possible? Well, in the anime, we see a Tim use his ancient powers to send the ghost of Kaiba to the Shadow Realm, mind crush
I think card, and I read the guy shot him was really close. This was a high-powered rifle. Okay. 22. And these two people have been camping down there all summer long. Yeah. On a wild
mind crush
Warden Jake Scott has located the campers.
a pervert and
But they have information about the gunshots heard 15 minutes ago.
It sounded like it was 10 feet away.
and Kaiba.
Is that all right up over here? Yeah, man, I thought somebody was shooting at me.
Yeah, but it's
Yep.
shots. Was it really?
The campers are shaken.
Uh,
Come under fire on a game preserve. where
but
firearms are strictly
so no one
Big high-powered rifle.
no one dies because it's 4 kids. 4 kids did the dub, and for what it's worth, Dan Green does an awesome job. Let's move on to Season 0, where a Tim literally kills people. So the first game of Darkness is played with a Tim and Ushio Trudge, which, if you know Trudge, you may be wondering, is he the officer from 5Ds? Yes, he is the officer of 5Ds. He was a bully then, and he was a bully in 5Ds. So things never really stayed the same. But the first game of Darkness, as it is referred to, is a Tim on one side, Ushio on the other, because Ushio wanted Yugi to pay him 200,000 yen. Because, according to him, he was Yugi's bodyguard.
There's a trail in a house. Yep, right at the end of this. That sounded like it came
A Tim said, "I'll give you the money."
I don't know.
And Ushio goes, "Okay, then I wouldn't have to beat you up." Because Ushio did beat Yugi up. So then a Tim goes, "But giving it to you would be too easy." Okay. So he said, "If you're up for a game." Ushio accepts. The rules of the game are quite simple. They draw from a deck of cards. Cards? Yeah. I thought I heard a TH. They draw from a deck of cards, including a joker. So, things start off promising for Ushio with 10 of diamonds. Then a Tim gets a jack. So he gets... Oh, I forgot. So, whoever... They're attached to each other by a rope. Whoever gets to the top claims the money, and they win, while the other one just falls to their death. So eventually the game ends up with a Tim one step away from victory. Then Ushio basically just says he tries to wield protagonist powers, but that doesn't seem to work. He said that it doesn't matter. I will turn this game around with the next card I draw. And he flips over the Joker. And a Tim just goes, "Too bad for you. The Joker is a miss." Then a Tim just flips an ace and wins. But Ushio decides that he doesn't want to go down. So he cheats. He pushes a Tim off. Ushio goes, "I win," just to find out that what was supposed to be money just turned out to be a deck of playing cards. And a Tim goes, "I knew you would cheat." So Ushio eventually is falling down, and he goes, "I have nothing to worry about. It's just water." Then a giant tentacle monster thing comes out and devours him, and completely freaks Ushio out. His fellow disciplinary members are surrounding him, and he's crying like a little baby. The next time we see a game of darkness, or a game of death, or a shadow game, is the next episode, where Anzu is working at a burger world.
That's why my doctor recommended Cunol CoQ10. Cunol has the #1 cardiologist recommended form
A
of
burger world.
Cunol, the brand I trust.
And there's a criminal on the loose who is known to be a master of disguise. Well, it turns out that a Tim says... Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself, but oh well. A Tim says... Well, once the culprit is revealed to actually be in the restaurant, and he had facial reconstruction surgery to blend in with his surroundings, the criminal sees that Yugi wasn't doing anything, so he asked him to give him some alcohol. So, a Tim comes out, challenges the guy to a game of death, and the rules of this game was simple. We try to kill each other. We select one finger, but we try to, and with that finger, we try to kill each other. So the culprit, who is holding a gun, chooses his trigger finger, and Tim chooses his thumb. Crook thinks he has it in the bag. So Tim just grabs a lighter and lights the guy's cigarette, because that's what he wanted, was a lit cigarette. So Tim purposely drops the lighter, and it's resting on this guy's hand. However, in the other hand, he's pouring sake in a glass. So, the master of disguise cheats and tells Tim that he's a dead man. And Tim's response was to light him on fire. The next time we see you're definitely seeing a pattern here. The next time we see a game of death is with a man who stole a watch that Tristan, aka Honda,
What's gonna happen tonight is I'm gonna have to take your gun, at least for now.
was staying in line for, but he told Yugi to stand in line in his place because he had to go to the bathroom. He didn't go to the bathroom beforehand, and he was regretting it. So eventually Yugi gets the watch, or in the manga it's sneakers. And there was a guy who had a big collection of sneakers or watches, as it is in the anime. And the guy steals Miho's sneakers or Miho's watch. So Tim just gets tired of it, and he challenges him to a game where there is a cuckoo clock, and Tim says to the man to give him the watch, and the guy goes, "Why would I do that?" So the bird from the clock takes the item from, takes the sneakers, or takes the I'm just gonna go with the anime right now. Takes the watch from his hand, and the game is very simple. The game is this. at the start of the game, the bird will pop out again with the watch, and we have to, and Tim and the thief have to stop the watch as close to 10 as necessary. If the watch goes over 10 minutes, then they get sliced in half by a pendulum. It was a pendulum in the anime. I don't know about the manga because I haven't read it, to be honest with you. But so the thief does pretty good. Then the Tim does it with his eyes closed, and he wins. But then the thief goes, "Let me have another shot." Tim says, "Okay." Tim. So the thief and Tim switch places. Thief thought he had it, and well, fun fact: the guy goes insane and completely demolishes his collection. Now, you may be wondering, where's Seto Kaiba? We're getting to him. Seto Kaiba makes his appearance in the next episode, where Kaiba's a transfer student. In Season 0, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is referred to as Magic and Wizards. And it turns out that Kaiba is champion. National champion. And at the beginning of the episode, you see a kid being beat up by Kaiba's bodyguards because Kaiba wants the rare card that the kid has, and the kid is refusing to give it up because it was his it belonged to his father, and his father is no longer alive, and it was the only thing left that he had to remember him by. Kaiba didn't care, and he eventually got the card. So Kaiba meets Yugi. Yugi and Kaiba hit it off, but it becomes very, very, very obvious that Kaiba is only using Yugi to get to a rare card, that being Solomon Moto or Grandpa's Blue Eyes White Dragon. So, unlike the 4Kids anime, Seto doesn't challenge Solomon to a duel when Solomon refuses. In Season 0, Yugi asks Grandpa if he can borrow the Blue Eyes White Dragon, and Grandpa agrees. All for Kaiba, so Yugi lets Kaiba see it. Kaiba switches the real Blue Eyes with a fake Blue Eyes, causing Honda and Jinochi to confront Kaiba about this. Yugi finds out and goes up to Kaiba because Kaiba was telling him that, you know, Solomon or Shimon, whatever his Japanese, not Japanese counterpart, but Egyptian counterpart was, Kaiba said that Yugi's grandpa taught him how to love cards. Then Yugi asks for it back, and Kaiba goes into complete douchebag mode by saying, "Get your filthy hands off me." So Yugi gets beat up by Kaiba's bodyguards. Atim doesn't like that. Atim challenges Kaiba to a duel, and this is where we get our first look at what would be duel monsters. What would be Yu-Gi-Oh! So, in the Season 0 anime, Kaiba isn't freaked out by the punishment game, or the Game of Darkness, or Shadow Game, or Game of Death, or whatever it's called. Actually, it's called a punishment game, isn't it? Yeah, it's called a punishment game. He's not freaked out. He's rather intrigued. He's been looking for a challenge like this, and in the anime, it ends in a draw, where Kaiba goes, "We will meet again." Then there's a scene. There's a scene later on where Kaiba is going completely crazy about how someone like him could have a draw, especially to somebody like Yukimoto. So, but in the manga, Kaiba loses, and as punishment, he gets to feel what it's like. Atim basically makes him look like he basically makes it where Kaiba can feel like he's dying continually. So, I also forgot to mention that the watch thief in the anime got turned into his obsession, which was a watch. So he goes crazy. So the last episode that I saw was episode 4 or episode 5, and that's where we meet Shoddy. But Atim kills people in Season 0. So how we went from that to the 4Kids anime, I have no freaking clue. By the way, Season 0 was only lasted 27 episodes. Then I think it was ran from I want to say, I did research. Trying to remember the months right offhand. I think it was ran from March of 98 to April of 98. So it didn't have that long of a run time. And then it was another company got Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's where we got what we know now as the Yu-Gi-Oh anime in the States. So, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I know it was just me rambling on about Season 0 and the Yu-Gi-Oh anime and how the anime we got versus Season 0, comparing the two and contrasting. I know it was just basically me rambling on, but if you like this video, thumb it up. If you don't like it, thumb it down. Oh wait, what am I saying? That's another guy's outro altogether. So let me do my outro. What's my outro again? Oh yes. So how long is this? Oh, not as long as I thought it was going to be. So, I'm Hardcore Christopher. If you would like to become a member of our community, hit the subscribe button down below and make sure you ring the bell and click all for every time I upload a video. If you don't, it's okay, I still respect you. At the end of the day, I'm just glad that you chose to spend a little bit of your time here with me. Keep it hardcore, everyone.